Welcome to Israeli Frenemies, broadcasted off ILTV right here in the beautiful city of Tel Aviv, Israel. It's the only show you can see where the left and right get together to bash out the most heated subjects of the week. With my co-host here, Rizaki, how you doing?
I'm good, Ari. I met your brother this week.
Did you?
I did. Before we continue, I just have one, this is not an issue we're going to discuss this on this show because it's been talked a lot about. That's the post that Yair Netanyahu, the son of Benjamin Netanyahu, posted, which had, I can't call it anything else but anti-Semitic elements. It's been heavily discussed. I just want to mention to our viewers, in case they haven't heard about it, I think it's outrageous. I don't know whether you agree with me or not.
It's a very distasteful post.
This is something I wanted to to stress. Again, we'll not discuss it because it's been discussed, but I think something there needs to be changed.
Absolutely. All right, we got a lot of things to discuss today.
Yeah.
Let's get right to it.
So this week, another clash between the Israeli Supreme Court and the Israeli legislator, the Knesset. This time, it's around the compulsory service of Haredi Jews, ultra-Orthodox Jews, to the military. This coalition passed a law that exempting, basically.
It was the last coalition. In other words, it was carried over.
It was another piece of legislation.
Lapid is not in the government anymore, right?
Right. There was a piece of legislation with the last coalition that said that there will be some degree of compulsory service with the Haredi Jews. This coalition, in which the Haredi parties are a strong element, passed a law that basically takes out the sting of the former legislation. Of course, in Israel, there is a compulsory service, a general one. Since the 80s, a massive amount of Haredi Jews.
Well, since 1948, they were.
In 48, there were like few hundreds. Since the 80s, it's in the tens of thousands who are exempt from service. So there are two issues here. That first of all, that the court repeals a law, and the second is the question itself of service of Haredi.
I definitely agree with you. There are two separate issues here, and I think we might even kind of agree on one of them. I think
not
that
necessarily.
Maybe not. I don't know. I think that there is a problem here with the relations to the army in terms of the Haredi world, the ultra-Orthodox world. It's not even about not serving. It's about how they relate or how we hear them relate to the army in the news and so on and so forth. I think in that section we might have some common ground there that I think, personally, I served. My son's now going to the first draft. I'm proud to serve. In other words, I don't get, hey, if you're not serving, I'm not. I'm proud to serve. I think they're missing a tremendous opportunity. But that being said, there is a certain weight on our shoulders, those who go to the army, putting ourselves in danger. And, in Ben Gurion, when he first made it in 1948, there were 400 students. And it's now over 60,000, I believe. The problem is, like everything else in Israel, it wasn't taken care of. It was never, the Knesset never took care of it. And so the problem now is it went out of the political realm and into the Supreme Court. Now, this is a much bigger picture because the Supreme Court over the last couple of years has really stepped on the Knesset a little bit. The Knesset stepped on the Supreme Court a lot, and there's really no checks and balances. And I think it's a very dangerous, situation. But I just want to say that, for example, in 1975, Aaron Barak, who was, again, in the Supreme Court, now went against his ruling back then, who said they're not going to rule on this issue.
Former, Chief of Justice. Who really influenced the Israeli...
He said in 1975, we're not going to pass judgment on this because it's a political issue. And now it's coming flip-flopped. So there are two different, issues really here to discuss.
Here, what I think. First of all, I believe that the court in our constitutional system, without a constitution, does have, in the minute that the Knesset said that there can be illegal or non-constitutional laws, the Supreme Court is the place where you should be, who has the ability to say that laws are against our constitutional principles. It's not a perfect solution because we should have had a constitution, but as long as we don't have it, we have constitutional legislation, and therefore the Supreme Court should have this power.
Well, the problem is the Supreme Court is not an elected body. This is where the problem really stems from. So they're dictating to the legislative branch, which is elected.
Yeah, but the Supreme Court in the United States is not elected either.
No, they're chosen by the president.
By the president. Here, it's a combination in Israel between the legislator, the Knesset, the government, the bar.
The Supreme Court has the veto.
And they don't have,
the Supreme
everybody
Court
has a veto.
No. The Supreme Court, you have I think it's 7 judges or 6 judges.
No, there are 3 judges.
But I'm saying the court system itself with the judges and the lawyers, they have the veto who's chosen.
The lawyers don't necessarily go with it.
You need a majority of 7.
We don't. I just wanted to in this specific context. I think what the court had to cancel this law because this law basically its goal, its stated goal was to increase the equality in service in the IDF, but in de facto, the actual steps that the law created made a separation between the Haredi Jews, basically exempting them from service. Now, I personally think that Haredi Jews, if they don't want to, should not be obligated to serve. I think that it should be an individual decision by each Haredi Jew. Basically, what we have with women, that if a woman feels that her religious lifestyle prevents her from serving, it can be also applied to men. I don't see the big difference. And there is a difference between the two genders here, which creates another inequality that the court didn't.
Well, there's another major inequality, which we're not mentioning, is the Arabs
right?
don't have to serve at all. And that's really, we're talking about deepening racism. That is deepening racism.
Although they are not part of the, they don't even get the, how do you call it, the draft itself.
Draft. Okay, so I'm saying that has to be changed. If we're talking about equality,
perhaps, but it's not part of the law.
If we're talking about equality, then you got to have equality. You can't say, well, you know, the Haredim have to be equal to this, but the Arabs can be off. That's
As
not
I said,
equality.
I don't even say that they have to be equal. I think the Haredi lifestyle would find, let's put it this way, in order to preserve the IDF as it is now, if you know, tens of thousands of Haredis would serve, it would be a totally different IDF. I'm not sure that the Haredi Jew that would enter the IDF as it is now would leave it in the same.
Welcome back to Frenemies. So now we're going to be talking about a situation which came up this week, although it was 2 years old. A member of the Knesset Goeta, who's a member of the Sephardic religious party, took part in his nephew's wedding, which is all great and wonderful, except the fact that it was a gay wedding. So again, what happened was, it didn't happen now, it happened 2 years ago, but he had a radio interview where he said, I went to my sister's son's wedding, and they happened to be gay, and so on and so forth. And there was pressure that came in from his own party, and he stepped down from the Knesset today. Threats or not threats, he stepped down today. You know, personally, I think it's the following. You know, the Supreme Court just passed a legislation that there was supposed to be a advertisement on Channel 2 TV, and the LGBTQ, right? So they want to put up the gay marriages. You can't put that up because in Israel, it's still a conflict. So this is a religious party. You know, if they don't want someone who's, you know, accepting of that life, okay, it's not illegal yet. My personal opinion is, obviously, according to Judaism, homosexual relations is wrong. If someone has, you know, desires, whoever it is, I don't find any excuse to yell at them or scream at them or treat them, you know, any other different way than anyone else in terms of interpersonal relations. Absolutely not. If someone's attacking someone who has homosexual desires, I will be there to defend that person. Between that and talking about gay marriages, so there is a differentiation there. Again, what happened in Shas, I don't know, but I will say this. In a party that's led by people who have been in jail for corruption, money, and everything else, I find this a little bit ironic, I guess the word would be.
Well, first of all, I think that there is a major problem with marriages in Israel. The fact that you can only marry according to your to the Orthodox halachic view in Israel, and reform weddings and conservative weddings are not recognized, not to mention civil marriages, and that you can't marry outside your religion. I think that's crazy in a modern society. And of course, I do think that there should be gay marriage. Now, with respect to Shas, you know, the Sephardic Haredi party, the Sephardic tradition, and I come from a Sephardic background, is always of moderation, of accepting the other. It's part of the Sephardic.
Within the limits of Judaism.
Yeah, of course. Now, we're talking about someone who was honest about the love to his own family, to his own
I want to
sister.
just point the break. He said 2 years ago he called people who were gay sick, so he was really just trying to be nice to his nephew. He was
Right.
really, he wasn't accepting it. He wasn't.
The fact that he showed love to his nephew, and I do not agree with those statements.
I understand.
I think
of
that you know, gays are, you know, completely all right, everything like us. But he comes from a different background, and he has a different set of beliefs. But, you know, he says, these are my beliefs. I do not agree with this person. To basically oust him, it's true that he had to resign, but he had to resign because the rabbis who are very prominent in his own party basically said, you know, he has to be ousted. We will not sit in the same room with him. We will not talk to him. You will not be able to.
They said to him.
That's what they said. They threatened to make him an outcast.
Well, let's be honest here. I think what they did was, you know, there's a biblical thing so that people should see and hear. In other words, when they have to punish, so people should see and hear. We don't accept this. I think it was a real, and again, it was so silly because if it should have happened because of a moral issue, it should have happened 2 years ago. When he went to the wedding.
Maybe they didn't like the fact that he talked about it.
But
by the way, we should mention this too. There is a growing trend amongst Orthodox Jews who are openly gay. This question is starting to be discussed within, not necessarily the Sephardic or the Haredi part, but more in the national Zionist Orthodox
Again, I don't know
element.
what the trend is. If there are people who are coming out, the fact that they're coming out and saying, "Listen, we have this issue."
The rabbi of your town of Efrat said, you know,
He said that he made a statement that everybody disagreed with. But again, the issue is the following. The issue is the following.
It's an issue.
The issue is the following. We completely disagree when it comes to morality and on this issue, 100%. I think we agree that to treat someone else like a normal human being without making laws that they're allowed to get married, allowed to do this, just treat it like a normal human being, I don't think we disagree there. My problem comes in when the government or anyone else will dictate to me what is normal. In other words, that I have to give up my moral standards in order to accept yours, and if I don't, then I'm some kind of like racist, homophobe, fascist, or anything else.
The way to do that is to say that alongside Orthodox marriage, any other there will be a civil course,
right?
That in which people who don't want to be.
Are there any limits to that civil court? Can a brother and sister also get married?
No, of course not.
Why?
Because it's against the law.
No, but maybe make it legal. What's the problem?
So you're saying that the siblings marrying is the same as gay marriage?
I'm saying if your ruler is if two people love each other, they have the right to do so. Then why not?
Because it's a moral barrier that is very much there right now by everyone.
Okay, so it's acceptance. So the problem is, so you're saying,
but these days,
you're saying,
fine, I'm with you.
Okay,
would you agree with me that these days, gay lifestyle, which I completely disagree that it's similar to siblings getting
why?
married.
I don't understand why.
Oh, okay, so you don't agree. Okay, so fine, you don't agree.
But if two people love each other,
but there is a social consensus.
That's fine. So that's exactly my issue. Social consensus should never take over morality.
Right.
That's exactly the problem.
Why should you care about two people?
Oh, I don't care about two people
making their.
No, you're misunderstanding me. I don't care about what they do in their home, whatever. I don't care what they do. To make it state, to say we have to accept this as a state thing, that's where I draw the line. So you could do what you want.
That's the problem because of state and religion being together.
No,
it should not be a problem. Perhaps it can be married. It can be religiously accepted.
No,
but
no. Again, the same way that you say socially a brother and sister can't get married, so somebody that's wacko to you, I don't understand why. Two people love each other. What's the problem? So you think it's crazy.
It's a problem.
I understand, but that's exactly the point. You think in your rule of morality it's a problem, but you can't define from that rule of morality.
Fine. Right now, gay lifestyle is very much accepted.
By whom?
And these people, by a very big segment of the society here in Israel and around the world.
Okay.
And these people
By the way,
want
around the world, it's probably not accepted by more than is accepted, but that's a different story altogether.
many, I think we are part of, we aspire to be part of the democratic world. In the democratic world, in Europe, in the United States, in Canada, in other places. So, the Minister of Finance, Mr. Moshe Kahlon, started to implement the law of the boycott law. It's called the boycott law that basically
Boycotting
says,
of boycotters.
yeah, boycotting the boycotters, basically saying that Amnesty International, that had a campaign for banning products from the settlements, from your hometown, for instance.
From Judea and Samaria, only from the Jews.
The settlements.
okay.
The settlements
Only from the Jews
that are a human rights violation and a crime according to international
No, they're
law. And Amnesty International is a human rights organization, saying that they will not be tax exempt in Israel. Now we're talking about Amnesty International, probably the most well-known, respected human rights organization in the world. That stated the obvious in the eyes of international law, that the settlements are a violation of international law.
This is what really
it has an effect on millions of Palestinians. The mere existence of the Jewish settlement in the West Bank, Judea and Samaria, and said, don't buy these products. Now, you know what? Even if I would be for the settlements, to say that our country is banning, is calling for a ban, for a boycott, is first of all stupid. Because
well, that's a scientific definition.
Because there's a BDS attack on us.
Well, you're right. And they're part of that BDS attack.
We have to be stronger than that. We have to believe in the freedom of speech, and the freedom of speech is also accepting, points of views that are very different than yours. And just a disclaimer: I do not buy products from the Jewish settlements.
Okay, so a couple of things which drive me nuts when it comes to the left wing in Israel. The fact you boycott your brothers and sisters is very painful to hear, but that's okay, it's your prerogative. Number one, Amnesty, during the Gaza war, after we were shot 20,000 missiles, they said nothing. When we responded with war...
It's not true.
When we responded with
it's
war...
It's not true.
Okay,
they have several reports of the Hamas in Gaza.
Meanwhile, they're going to boycott Israel, not going to boycott anyone else. But that's besides the point.
By the way, I don't know, I haven't checked it.
During the war, they put up a video of the knock on the roof. What Israel did in order not to kill people they didn't have to kill, they knocked on the roof with a small missile. They gave the people 5 minutes to get out of their house and then destroyed the house where terrorists were hiding out. What did this Amnesty, the world-renowned human rights junk organization, do? They basically cut the movie down and said it was for a minute. This was not oops. This was intentional lying. So we're not, wait. We're not talking about someone who's, these poor people. The UN is also a very big human rights organization. They're as corrupt as can be. They've condemned Israel and they condemned Syria. I don't care how well known they are in the world. I care the fact that they're dishonest. I care for the fact
International had several reports that I read thoroughly.
Biased against Israel. Their numbers are from Hamas. They're biased against Israel. Israel, you can in 1 second. And Israel has a complete and total right to say we are not allowing people who are seeking to destroy Israel financially or racistly.
Ari, we have limited time. First of all, next week, I suggest to our editors here to have the Amnesty International person here in Israel.
Wonderful.
And to defend their case. I'm not their spokesperson. I can't say...
You did a pretty good job just now.
No, I'm against the boycott law in general, and especially when it comes to...
But except when it's against...
To the settlement, especially when it comes to the settlements, because this is the core debate in Israel.
I love it. So
and
you're against boycotting.
To say that I'm a criminal because I'm, It's the same if there'll be a left-wing government in Israel that would say that anyone that supports the settlements has to be banned.
I love the way you turn things over. You're against
boycotting. It's not part of the state of Israel.
You're against boycotting.
You live outside Israel.
You're against boycotting, except if you're boycotting Jews in Judea and Samaria, not your fault.
Hold on.
That's called anti-Semitism.
When I have a consumer, as an individual, a consumer policy on what I buy and what I don't buy, it's completely different.
You said you boycott Jews in Judea and Samaria. At the same sentence, you said you're against boycotting.
That I think is the biggest existential threat on the mere existence
Of course
of the
you
state of
think
Israel
Jews-
as a
of
Jewish
course.
homeland and a
I
democracy.
understand. Of course, you think Jews living in Judea are an intentional threat more than Hamas and Hezbollah. That's what makes the left so nuts.
Right, because
that's what makes the left so crazy.
This has
Instead
to
of
make us
calling the Muslims-
choose between the
instead of
Jewish
calling the
nature.
Arabs-
Hold on, Ari.
But you said something really important. Instead of calling the Arabs who say that our goal is to destroy the state of Israel is the existential threat to Israel.
In order
you
for us
believe
to
Jews
defend the state of
living-
Israel,
no, PLO,
we have to be united,
PLO's goal
and
is
your
to destroy
enterprise-
Israel.
Okay,
and
Ari,
instead
can
of
I
calling
say-
that a threat, you call Jews living in
Then
Judea
the
a
viewers
threat.
say that we
That's
don't.
called an
Then the
anti-Semitic.
viewers say, afterwards, after discussions like this, the viewers post on Facebook that they can't
Well,
hear
you
us.
can't get away with ridiculous statements like
Okay,
that. I'm
but
sorry.
can I
you can't
make
say
them?
Jews are their fault.
Okay, I'm saying the following. I say, of course, we have enemies. We live in a very tough neighborhood. But
Who's the bigger threat, the Jews or the enemies?
the threat on the nature of this country, which is not less important than its physical existence, is the settlement enterprise. That's the way I see it, okay?
But again, you have to back that
settlement
with facts,
enterprise
though.
is
Facts.
the...
They're 50%
These
of the
are-
army.
Hold on, listen
They're
up.
50% of the university.
Listen,
What
listen.
threat? Yes.
Ari, then the viewers will be
What
mad.
threat? Let me tell them what
The
threat.
threat is, because of the settlement enterprise, we have to choose between the Jewish nature of this country and its democratic nature.
Why do you have to choose?
Because if your plan would succeed,
Yes.
we as Jews will not be a majority
Absolutely false.
in the state of Israel.
False.
And therefore,
that's called fake news of the left. There's no such
Fake
thing.
news?
No such thing.
Why don't you
What
give
just said.
citizenship to all the
Because they
Palestinians?
want to destroy Israel. You don't give people who want to destroy you
But you
citizenship.
control their lives in 50
Again,
years.
We do not destroy. Again, you can't make two statements. The reason that I will not give them
it's the same statement.
The reason that
That's why we hate the settlement enterprise.
Give them voting
it's
rights.
creating a de facto apartheid situation in the West Bank.
Okay, but I will not give voting rights to people who want to destroy me so they can do so democratically. That's a ridiculous, suicidal thing
So
to do.
that's when you make Israel an apartheid state. So what we see here right now is the shofar. We're marking this week and celebrating the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah. And the main mitzvah, the main commandment of Rosh Hashanah in the Jewish tradition is the shofar. And here we have with us Ari Fold, who's also knows how to use a shofar, and will explain.
So the shofar is one of the main festivals we use for Rosh Hashanah. The sounding of the shofar is supposed to wake us up to make sure we improve ourselves for the year to come. It reminds us also of the almost sacrifice of Isaac, that at the end of the day, that Abraham didn't sacrifice Isaac, because we don't believe in human sacrifice. Then they took our rams, and we remember also the compassion of God to have on us for the year to come. And then we try to improve ourselves as much as we can in the year to come.
Happy New Year, Shana Tova to
Thanks for
everyone.
watching. Don't forget to share us out. God bless from the state of Israel.
בראש השנה, ליבנו ענה בתפילה נושנה, שיפה ושונה תהא השנה, אשר מתחילה עכשיו. שיפה ושונה תהא השנה, אשר מתחילה עכשיו. בראש השנה, פרחה מנגינה שאיש לא הכיר, ותוך יממה הזמר המה מכל חלונות העיר. בראש השנה, ליבנו ענה בתפילה נושנה, שיפה ושונה תהא השנה, אשר מתחילה בשיר. שיפה ושונה